Hello and welcome back to the Fruit of Grisaia, Sachi's route. In the last episode, Yuuji discovered that Sachi was his old friend from way before he lived with his master Asako, way before he turned into the person that he is. And it turns out that the usual place that he had mentioned to Sachi and thought of as the classroom, Sachi had thought that Yuuji meant was the old playground where they used to meet. Now Sachi had noticed that Yuuji was her old friend over time, but had not directly told Yuuji. He found her fatigued and weakened after sitting more than a day on a swing set without sleep, drink or food. She's now in the hospital recovering, but seems to be alright except from exhaustion. So this branch gets sort of gets the relationship going much faster, where Yuuji in the case of Machina, there wasn't sort of a relation between them beforehand. It was more that Yuuji saw pity in Machina's situation, and given the fact that Machina had offered him money for a job that he could do, and given the fact that Machina suddenly was threatened by an assassination note placed on Yuuji to accomplish, he saw the opportune moment to sort of take that relationship further. Where in Amane's case, it took a long time for Yuuji to discover that Amane had relationship or had developed a friendship with his sister Kazuki. In this, we're getting pretty down to it quite fast in terms of how far in the storyline we are. Alright, let's continue. Mere moments after I pick up the sound of the well-tuned V8 engine approaching, the familiar yellow prancing horse pulls smoothly to a halt in front of my eyes. Hello there, Yuuji. And a split second later, the person I've been expecting emerges from the driver's seat. Jeez, I'm about the only person in the world who'd come running to answer a call at this hour, you know that? Yeah, I do, and I appreciate it. When I offer a few straightforward words of thanks, JB furrows her brow. Something wrong? When you answer an attempt at sarcasm in that serious tone of voice, it's a little hard to find a follow-up. My bad. It's not like I'm upset or anything. So, this girl's the one you were talking about before, right? The one who doesn't feel stressed? As JB speaks, she holds out a single manila envelope. By the way, this is technically confidential material. Right. That's why I had to ask you, Julia. Well, I suppose it's difficult to criticize you, given that I actually brought it. Thanks. I owe you for this one. You're not much fun when you're honest, Yuuji. JB shrugs her shoulders as I take the document from her hand. It's not that I don't trust Chizuru, but I prefer to get my information from a familiar, reliable source. Also, I assume you're aware, but I did take a look at these documents beforehand. Yeah, not a problem. I was aware that the kids in this school all had their problems, but this girl went through a lot in her own right. I see. I was more or less expecting JB to read the documents before handing them over, but judging from her vague language, it seems there was indeed something fairly dramatic inside. This next question I'm asking you purely as your friend. Why do you want to know about her problems? Planning something in particular? Don't know yet, but... But? If there's something I can do for her after reading these, I think I will. JB answers my words with a searching gaze, her expression unusually serious. I stare steadily back into her eyes. For a moment, there's silence between us. I see. In that case, I won't say anything. You're not opposed to the idea? I don't have the right to take your private life from you on top of everything else, and I know you wouldn't say something like that unless you have a worthwhile reason. In other words, you trust me? I suppose so. At the very least, I believe you know how I know how you think. After all, I'm your guardian, your superior, and your friend, all in one package. True enough. With my master and my older sister dead, JB is without a doubt the foremost living authority on the subject of me. That's it. Allow me to make one thing perfectly clear. No matter what happens next, you're going to perform your job as always. Yeah, of course. That was the plan. It's a relief to hear you say that. You may be on the reserve duty for the moment, but there's still quite a lot of people relying on you. Apparently satisfied, JB gives me a friendly thump on the shoulder as she passes by. Alright then, I'm going to get going. Right, I appreciate the help, JB. If you'd like to express your gratitude in a more concrete way, treat me to some 3-star Italian sometime. Returning to her usual playful tone, JB deftly brushes a loose strand of thick golden hair into place, then steps back into her car. Yeah, I'll make a note. As the prancing horse grows small in the distance, I mutter wryly to myself. After returning to the courtyard, I sit down on a nearby bench and examine the contents of the envelope JB handed me. At a glance, it's 6 pages filled with text, almost certainly printed from a personal computer. So now I got my hands on Sachi's past. What's more, I managed to obtain it quietly, from a source with absolutely no connection to these events. For JB, it was probably a simple job involving nothing more than challenging a few minutes of database crawling on a neglected terminal. But this way, if and how I make use of this information is completely up to me. When I open my eyes, I'm staring up at an unfamiliar ceiling. Where am I? The lights are off and there's only faint illumination flowing in from the window. But as my eyes grow accustomed to the darkness, it doesn't take long for me to realize that I'm in a hospital. I see. I fainted at the playground. Kasami-san must have carried me here afterward. And judging from the tuna fishman figurine standing watch at my bedside, Maki-chan and the others paid me a visit. Kasami-san was Yukun. Kasami-san and I played together as children. For a time he was a very dear friend to me. I realized as much some time ago, but I don't believe that knowledge prompted any dramatic change inside me. Therefore I had assumed the same was true for Kasami-san, that he had realized the truth long ago and simply decided to keep things as they were. But in reality he never associated me with the girl he knew back then. To him the usual place was somewhere else entirely. The thought makes my heart ache. For some reason, when I close my eyes, I see Kasami-san's sorrowful face looking down at me in the playground. And as I remember that moment, the vise gripping my chest grows gradually tighter. That's strange. I'm not a bad girl anymore, am I? As long as I'm a good girl and do what I'm told, I thought it wouldn't hurt anymore. The more I think, the more sluggish I feel. It's as though a heavy weight is pressing down on my body. Thank goodness I'm alone. If someone else had been here, I'm not sure I could have been my normal self with them. After all, I'm currently incapable of something as simple as reaching over to turn on the lights. Soon enough, my physical discomfort is accompanied by a building sense of panic, inexpressible in words. A horrible choking sensation crawls slowly but steadily up my throat. No. As I moan incoherently, my hands reflexively clutch at the blanket draped over my body. I squeeze my eyes tightly closed in an attempt to shut out reality. It's no good. The harder I try to repress the memory, the more clearly it rises to the surface. I know that it's the cause of my pain, but I simply can't escape that image. Perhaps it's because I'm weaker than usual after my long wait in the rain. Even as I winch at the first throbbing stabs of a sudden headache, an overwhelming weariness washes over my body. Just keeping my eyes open seems unbearably burdensome. My field of vision grows narrower as my eyelids fall halfway closed. I can faintly hear the sound of my clenched teeth rattling in my mouth. It feels as if the temperature of the room has plunged, to the point that I almost expect my breath to form white clouds before my eyes. I roughly gasp for air, panting like a dog, helplessly enduring the unceasing waves of pain. Eventually it becomes difficult to tell whether my eyes are open or shut, and as my physical agony reaches its climax, it's joined by an unfathomably profound sense of loss. My trembling hands creep upward, seeking reassurance that my head hasn't simply been lopped off at the neck. It's alright. This couldn't possibly have happened. I understand that rationally, but the delusion is so vivid that I can't bring myself to lower my hands. Post-traumatic stress disorder. PTSD. As a child, when I first suffered these symptoms, the doctor who examined me dispassionately offered that diagnosis. A severe mental illness brought on by violent wounds to the mind, leading to a persistent range of stress-related impediments. I've researched the disorder and its symptoms in great detail over the years from every source I could find. Among the many symptoms, the one I truly fear is clinically referred to as recurrent involuntary memory, more commonly known as the flashback. If I curl my body into a tight ball like this, I can endure the pain and exhaustion somehow, but the worst of the suffering is yet to come. No. As I begin to imagine that moment, tears flood out of my eyes and I shake my head from side to side like a spoiled child throwing a temper tantrum. Lukewarm drool dribbles out of my gaping mouth as I'm racked by dry heaves. At some point my groans give way to convulsive sobs. I'm sorry. This is how it always happens. After enduring the pain, I see the dream. The memories I've tried so hard to forget force their way into my mind, still vivid and clear after all this time. The profound darkness buried deep inside my own conscious effort pushes its way back to the surface. How many times have I seen this dream since that day? The mere idea of trying to count seems rather ridiculous by now. I'll never escape this nightmare, will I? Never. It'll be with me for all eternity. And the nightmare begins, as always, with 2 words. Sachi, why? Ha. I'm home! Welcome back, Sachi. Did you have fun at school today? Yeah. The workshop was constantly filled with the clamor of industrial machines, but when I shouted out a greeting, my parents never failed to put down their work and answer. My gentle mother, who always smelled like freshly dyed laundry, and my smiling father, whose face was constantly smeared with grease and oil. I loved them both very much. My earliest memories from the days before I entered elementary school are all wonderfully happy. My dad was a metal worker and engineer from Niigata, and my mom was born into a family that operated a small precision manufacturing workshop in Kanagawa. About 20 years ago, they met at a technology fair and fell in love. Soon enough, they started up a little factory of their own on the outskirts of this small city. I was born shortly thereafter, completing an intimate little family of 3. What should we do, dear? Sachi won't stop crying. Looks like she has a fever too. Let's get her to the hospital right away. But we still haven't delivered that order and the deadline was this evening. What about it? If we grovel later, it'll work out somehow. Sachi is 100 times more important. Okay. The orders placed at that freshly established workshop tended to be small in scale, and its track record couldn't have been called excellent, even as polite flattery. The primary cause, my parents prioritized their newborn child above all else, frequently missing important deadlines for my sake. But despite their inconsistent job performance, their character won respect and affection. Our young family was able to get by thanks to the support of others. Mommy, let's go shopping together, okay? Well, let's see, I suppose it's around time to start getting ready for dinner, but... Sure, don't worry about the job. You two go have fun. I'm sorry, dear. No worries, this shouldn't take long anyway. Okay, then we'll buy some of your favorite beer, Daddy. Oh. That was Sachi. Okay, then we'll buy you some of your favorite beer, Daddy. Thanks, Sachi. Even once I got a little bigger, and I still spent lots of time with my parents. Especially in the evenings, I'd always pull at my mother's hand and beg her to go shopping with me. What do you feel like eating tonight, Sachi? Egg bits! I'm not talking about the toppings. How about Salisbury steak or sukiyaki? You know, something you really like. Okay then, shark! Shark is a little much. Can't you eat sharks? Well, yes, I know you love sharks, Sachi, but could we maybe go with something else for today? Okay then I want octopus sausages. I'm sorry, Sachi. What for, Mommy? I love your octopuses and sunny side up eggs more than anything else, you know. I love your octopuses and sunny side eggs more than anything else, you know. That's very sweet. I love you too, Sachi. Oh, it's Sachin. Another outing with Mommy. Lucky girl. Yeah. Thinking back on it now, our household was definitely on the poor side. You could count on one hand the number of times per year a real treat of a meal graced our dinner table. But Mom's cooking was always delicious anyway, and more importantly, I loved the feeling of her soft, warm hand wrapping around mine. Fortunately, the adults around us watched over our family with warm gazes and small acts of kindness. Okay then, this is a freebie. Again, that's very kind of you. No, we got it tough ourselves. What with the supermarket they opened over by the station, but you're still quite the loyal customer, Kumine-san. Have to show our appreciation. Thank you very much. Gramps, thanks for always giving us freebies. Oh, what a polite young lady you've become already, Sachan. Alright then, your Gramps is gonna throw in a little meat as well, so have yourself some fried chicken tonight. Whoa! You are really too kind. Yeah, the old ball and chain might give me an earful for this one. Thanks for your hard work today, dear. Yep, you too. Nice work as always. Good work, everybody! Surrounded by Mom's cooking, we thanked each other for our daily labors as Dad tilted his beer glass. When the dishes in front of us were about halfway gone and the glass sat empty in front of him, Dad would always sit back in his chair and start to tell me a story. Hey Sachi, do you know about etching? Nah, never heard of it. Dear, Sachi's only 5 years old, remember? It would be pretty bizarre if she did know. You think? When I was Sachi's age, I was already sneaking into my dad's workshop fiddling around with the machines, you know? But the machines in your workshop aren't any fun, Daddy. I like playing with dolls better. That's how it is, huh? Well, you are a girl after all. Yeah, when I grow up, I want to be a mommy just like Mommy. Sachi. Oh, you really say some cute stuff, Sachi. Okay, then I'll tell you about one of Daddy's uncles who make toy dolls in his factory. Yeah, I want to hear about the dolls. Dad's stories were almost always connected to his job somehow. Even so, it was fun to hear about new things, and I was in awe of him for knowing all about that super complicated stuff. But what always impressed me more than anything else was his amazing handiness. Daddy, I changed the battery, but this clock still won't tick-tock. Let's see here. Looks like the circuit's broken. They must have done a sloppy job soldering the wires. Can you make it tick-tock again? Yeah, no problem. I could fix this right away. Wow, you're amazing, Daddy. A clock that won't tick I can handle. Which is this easy to deal with Mom when she's ticked off. Hey, Dad's got jokes. Dad loved playing with machines from a very young age, so he could repair almost anything. Because of that, the things we bought tended to last much longer than they would normally, and I always thought of him as kind of a wizard. That was a pleasant little sound. Hey Daddy, what's that? Alright, this is called a music box. A music box? When you open the lid, it turns on a little device inside that plays sounds. Oh, really? Sachi, would this be the first time you've seen a music box? Yeah, and it made a really gorgeous sound too. Oh, you know what the word gorgeous means, Sachi? Uh-huh, they said it on TV last night. I see, and you thought this song was beautiful? Yeah, it was really pretty. I see, I'm very happy to hear you say that, Sachi. Why? Well, Sachi, the song inside this music box brings back a lot of memories for Mom and Dad. It's a song that played at our wedding ceremony. Wedding ceremony? Let's see, a wedding is sort of like a promise you make with the person you love. You swear to find happiness together. Find happiness? Sachi, your name's written with the character for happiness, you know? Sachi, your name's written with the character for happiness, you know? Really? Yep. So when you grow up, I'm sure you'll marry someone you love too, and be very happy together. Okay, then when I get big, I'll marry Mommy and Daddy too. Well, that's... Mom, do we have a voice recorder somewhere? Jeez, don't be ridiculous, dear. Daddy, do you want to marry me too? Yeah, you bet I do. I've fallen in love with you all over again, Sachi. Really? But you have to get a lot bigger before you can marry anyone, okay? Okay, I'll drink lots of milk and get real big. From that day forth, the sound of that music box became a familiar part of my life. The gentle melody that accompanied our family gatherings felt almost like a symbol of happiness itself. I'd always understood that Dad loved me just as much as Mom, although he was often busy with work. And since I happened to love him very much myself, I had a habit of begging him to play with me on the weekends. Daddy, come on, let's go play outside. Oh, you're as energetic as always, Sachi. Sunday's the day for playing outside with Daddy. It's a rule. Is it now? So you gotta play with me, okay? Guess you're right about that. Why don't we go play catch in the park then? Catch? Okay, atta girl. Next, just aim right here and throw the ball as hard as you can. Throw the ball? Yeah! Oh, pretty good arm on you, Sachi. That's an amazing throw for your first try. Really? Yeah, Daddy was never any good at sports, but fortunately it looks like you take after your mom on this one. I think Dad probably wanted a boy. Not that he ever came out and admitted it, of course. But when he watched me tossing a baseball around or playing soccer, his eyes were livelier than usual. Once I caught on and started begging him to play with me even on weekdays, eager to see that happy expression on his face. But of course Dad had his work to take care of, so he couldn't tag along every time. As a result, I sometimes had too much time on my hands. One particularly dull afternoon, I decided on a total whim to imitate Mom and clean the floor of the workshop. And when I did... Goodness, Sachi, what are you doing with that broom? I'm cleaning. You're so thoughtful, Sachi. Huh? How sweet of you to help out without even being asked. Mommy's very happy. Listen to this, dear. Sachi started cleaning the workshop all by herself. What? Seriously? Yeah, come on over here and help me praise her. As my parents showered me in compliments, almost like the time I'd brought home the first prize for a picture I'd drawn in kindergarten, I blushed with joy. The initial reaction was surprising enough, but after work that day, both Dad and Mom came outside to play with me. Come on, Mommy, over here! Goodness, since when was Sachi such a fast runner? Good question. Can you two take it a little easy on me here? I can't keep up. No way! Today Mommy and me are gonna take you down once and for all! Yes, Mommy likes this plan. Oh man, what did I do to deserve this? We laughed and played until evening came, for one day when the machine sat silent in the workshop. In exchange, the house was filled with the resounding melody of the music box, and from that shining moment I was left with a powerful new conviction. It makes Mommy and Daddy happy when I clean up. If I do it again, they'll play with me more. Motivated by that simple thought, I began to clean the workshop and the house whenever I had the time. Come on, Mommy and Daddy, work is over now, so let's go play. Okay, we'll clean up real quick, so at least wait for us to get changed. No way, if we don't hurry, someone else is gonna capture the sandbox. Jeez, Sachi, you're too much. And sure enough, whenever I cleaned up for them, my parents would emerge from the workshop with resigned smiles on their faces. After witnessing that same scene play out countless times, I'm sure the neighbors had me down as a slightly spoiled little tomboy. Not that I noticed at the time, so caught up in every precious moment. Back then, my world consisted of nothing but the things before my eyes, the places my short legs could carry me, and that was more than enough. But eventually my way of thinking did undergo a clear change. That day, a little while into my first year of elementary school, I proudly brought home my first perfect test. Amazing, it really is a 100. Hello, dear? Are you paying attention? Yeah, sorry, I was so shocked to sort of stop breathing for a second there. Amazing at this seems a bit over the top. Seriously, Daddy? No, I think not. Daddy used to get a few perfect scores himself, but I don't remember managing many in a subject as tricky as math. Guess you're not just an athlete, Sachi. You got some real brains. So it seems, in celebration of your first perfect score, I'll have to outdo myself and break a real feast tonight. Really? Yeah, hey! At the time, I was a very simple person. Being praised makes me happy. When I do well on test, Mom and Dad are really nice. And the food at the dinner gets better too. In that case, I'm gonna get good scores every time. Having reached that conclusion, I shifted my effort to studies. I always listened carefully in school, and at home I'd voluntarily head off to my desk and pore over my books. A perfect score on your social studies test too? The teacher said I was the only one in the whole class to get 100 on this one. Lately you seem to have been studying hard at home as well. I'm really looking forward to seeing your report card. The harder I tried, the more my parents complimented me. The more effort I put in, the wider the smiles on their faces. That was all there was to it, but simple as I was, that was more than enough to motivate me. As I focused on that clear objective, my grades soared with astonishing swiftness. Here we go, we are celebrating you getting an all B's and above on your report card today, Sachi. Whoa, hand-rolled sushi! You've really been working hard lately, you know? We got to return the favor. Return the favor? That's right, putting in the effort is way easier said than done after all. It's only natural that we'll praise you for pulling this off. Yeah, okay. That's right, I think a little reward may even be in order. I'll buy you anything you want, okay? Anything, dear? You might regret that one. Hey, it's fine every once in a while. Come on, Sachi, what's your pleasure? I don't think I really want anything. Huh? Mommy and Daddy praised me and I even got to eat some sushi. I don't need anything else. Sachi? Those were my true feelings. Of course, sometimes I did look at the pretty new clothes my friends wore and felt a little envious. And I sort of wanted to visit those fancy amusement parks they talked about on TV too. But when I went home after school, Mom and Dad were always waiting. The music box plays its beautiful song in the background, and the people I loved had smiles on their faces. That was more than enough for me. But those tranquil days didn't last forever. One day, word got out that Dad's family had received a contract for grinding lenses that would be used on a space shuttle, leading to media interest and a TV interview. We contributed intricate metal molds that were now valuable manufacturing assets. With a sudden burst of publicity, a few major orders started trickling down our workshop as well. Dad had always been skilled, and now he had the chance to prove it. In the blink of an eye, rumors were spreading about the high-quality precision dies our workshop produced. Before we knew it, a little branch of the business was flooded with more orders than even his parents' workshop. A year or so after these events, my life had changed dramatically. I'm home! Welcome back. Back from school, I yelled out a greeting to the workshop from force of habit, but there was no answer from Mom and Dad. Instead, I was welcomed home by the drone of industrial machines, a constant companion from morning through night. On the dining table, a gorgeous meal was waiting for me, but the clouds of steam that proved the food was freshly made were missing. The pencil I used to wear down to the nub had all been replaced with nice new pens, but I no longer heard Dad's encouraging words at my side as I studied. I could wear all sorts of brand new clothes, but Mom didn't sew shark appliques onto my dresses anymore. Among all these, what hurt most was the simplest change of all. I no longer spent much time with my parents. Producing metal dies is precision manufacturing, requiring both high technical knowledge and natural skill. It was extremely difficult to find qualified new employees for such a small business. Dealing with the workload that had suddenly doubled with the same number of people as before, there was no choice but to increase working hours proportionally. The amount of time Mom and Dad spent in the house became extremely limited, and the amount of time I spent alone grew dramatically. Even so, I wanted their attention just as badly as before. Sometimes I would sit up waiting, rubbing my drowsy eyes until the machines finally fell quiet. Hi Mom. Hi Dad. Welcome home. Hey Sachi. You still up, dear? Yeah, I really wanted to show you guys something today. You have something to show us? Uh-huh. Here, see? I got my first 100 on a science test today. Oh, I see. You're really something else, Sachi. Congratulations, Sachi. Yeah. And when I did, my parents would still listen to what I had to say. But even then, they didn't smile like before. Their faces were always lined with exhaustion, their eyes dull. I knew they were busy because Dad's family had been on TV. I just had to tough it out a little longer and things would be back to normal. I did my best to believe that. I waited as patiently as I could for my parents to get less busy. But rather than diminishing, the word kept pouring steadily in. Even after 3 months, then half a year, the situation didn't improve in the slightest. In fact, things eventually got so frantic that my parents hired a housekeeper to look after things. She cooked and took care of the laundry in Mom's place. She accepted the handouts I brought home. When there was a parents' night at school, she was the one who showed up. The housekeeper was a diligent person who took her job seriously, and she was always nice to me. But that wasn't enough. For some reason, I never felt particularly happy when the housekeeper patted my head gently and praised my achievements. So one day, taking advantage of a brief pause in the feverish activity of my parents' workshop, I rushed up to Mom and tried to show off my latest test. I'm sorry, Sachi. Mom's got to head out for a meeting with one of our client companies. When will you be back? Probably very late. Show me next time, okay? But I finally got a 100 on a Japanese test, and it's my worst subject. For the first time, I couldn't get her to even glance at the paper. I still remember the shock and anger I felt. Crumbling the test into a ball, I threw it into a trash can. And on the night I turned 9 years old. Neither Mom and Dad were waiting for me. Instead, I was greeted by a feast our housekeeper had prepared and a pile of presents stacked up on the table. But I didn't have the slightest interest in the food in front of me, much less the colorfully wrapped boxes. This stuff isn't what I wanted. The only thing on my mind was conveying that simple truth to my parents, and so I sat and I waited. Even when the clock ticked past 9 and our housekeeper headed home. Even when unfamiliar shows started to appear on the television, which I'd left on so I could hear the sound of human voices, I didn't budge. And a little after the hour hand on the clock crept past 11, the clamor of the machines finally came to a stop. Looks like we'll be able to get them delivery tomorrow after all. But we got to get started on the next job right away or we'll never make it. Yeah. Huh? Sachi? Were you waiting for us to finish working? Uh-huh. I see. Sorry to keep you up, kiddo. Oh, that's right. I know it's a little late, but happy 9th birthday. Happy birthday, Sachi. Yeah. I know we've been making you feel a bit lonely lately, but so we sort of splurged on the present, you know? What's the matter, Sachi? Does your stomach hurt? Now that you mention it, she hasn't touched the meal, has she? I don't want it. What? I don't want the presents or the nice food. So, instead of eating steak alone and listening to a bunch of machines clanging, I want to eat curry together. Before I knew it, the words had slipped out of my mouth and tears were running down my cheeks. Those were the words I'd kept shut away tightly inside ever since the workshop got busy. My honest, selfish feelings. For the first time in a while, I was the spoiled little girl again. As soon as the words left my mouth, my parents' eyes opened with surprise. When that shock gave way to awkward, troubled expressions, I realized the mistake I'd just made. I just said something really mean to Mom and Dad. The instant I understood how selfish my word had been, my heart started to throb painfully in my chest. I stood up from the table and ran from the room, trying to escape the sudden wave of guilt. Dashing into my room, I burrowed down into the futon and cried my eyes out. I was angry at my parents, who couldn't spare a single night for me even on my birthday. And I was angry at myself for being cruel to my exhausted parents who had been forced to work by circumstances beyond their control. Tormented by this jumbled mixture of intense emotions, I cried into my pillow until morning came. That was my 9th birthday. After that miserable day, I decided to change my way of thinking and start fresh. Maybe finally saying what I'd kept locked inside helped. Maybe all the crying got all the poison out of my system. Either way, I found a new conviction to cling to. If what I've been doing isn't enough, I'll just have to try even harder. Not merely devoting myself to my studies, I began to actively volunteer for class representative and other student government duties. I threw myself into anything that seemed like it might put smiles on my parents' faces, even learning to play the music box song they loved so much. Probably because of that broad-spirited effort, my results at school rose so high that I broke the top 10 list for our year. Grades other than A disappeared from my report card entirely, and the comments were increasingly filled with effusive praise about how I'd become an example for the other students. But even then... Dad, today was the closing ceremony, so I got out my report card. Oh, already that time of the year, eh? And guess what? This time all my grades were A's. Okay, I'll take a careful look once I'm finished with this job, so can you wait just a little longer? Forget it. In the end, nothing changed. Even when I brought home a straight A report card for the first time, Mom and Dad didn't pay attention to me like they used to. If the best possible results weren't good enough, it could only mean that my parents had started to hate me. No matter how good my grades got, it wouldn't make them start loving me again. They were probably working really hard on their jobs so they could get enough money to run away together. The more I thought, the more dejected I felt. Why had I even bothered to try so hard all that time? Before I knew it, my legs had carried me to the neighborhood park where we once played together as a family. This place is still the same. A round bench at the center and the sandbox next to the ladybug. It's all just like it used to be. But I might never be able to play there again. Not like I had before. I'm the saddest kid in the world, abandoned by my own parents. It was only a few moments after I convinced myself of this that I noticed a mysterious boy. Oh, young Yuuji! Oh my god, he's adorable. You just want to hug him. He wasn't doing a thing, just sitting quietly on a swing staring off into space. I'd always thought of the park as a place where everyone played at all the time, so that motionless boy struck me as out of place. What's that kid doing over there? Only a few seconds after the first twinge of curiosity, I walked right up to him. Hey! Hey, can you hear me? Huh? Like I said, can you hear me? Maybe you can't then. If I couldn't hear you, I don't think I'd be able to answer. Ah, yeah, guess you're right. So, did you want something? Yep, I was curious about what you're doing. Well, I wasn't doing anything, I guess. Oh, look at them together! Look at them together! Oh my god. We're just gotta... Hang on a moment. We just gotta do this. Oh, that is perfection. Oh my god. I gotta say that as a screenshot. Let me see. Where's that button? There it is. Right. I will definitely make it as a thumbnail, that's for sure. Alright, back to the story. Sorry, I got caught by a kawaii. What's that supposed to mean? Well, my sister told me that sometimes people need to spend some time doing nothing at all. Your sister says some pretty interesting stuff. Yeah, that's what everyone says. But you're in a playground, so there's lots of stuff to do. Wouldn't it be more fun to actually use that swing? Or play in the jungle gym or something? Don't you think so? Yeah, you're probably right. Okay then, let's play together. Huh? I came here because I sort of wanted to play, and you just agreed that the playground was more fun that way. So there's no reason not to play together, right? Come on, let's go. Aww. The boy looked so painfully bored that even the saddest kid in the world had forgotten to feel sorry for herself. As he blinked up at me, I completely dumbfounded. I grabbed him by the hand and pulled him along after me. That was how I met Yukon. What should we do first? Ah, wait! What's wrong? I forgot to ask you what your name is. Yeah, I guess you did. Okay then, for the record, what's your name? Yuuji. Kasami Yuuji. Kasami Yuuji, eh? Okay then, I'm gonna call you Yukon from now on. Huh? It's easier to say, don't you think? What's your name then? I'm Sachi. Kumine Sachi. Sachi? Like an orca? Hey Yukon, mind if I smack you right in the kisser? Sorry. Anyway, you can call me whatever you want, except that. Okay then, I guess I'll go with Sachan. So it's Sachan after all. I mean, nothing else really comes to mind. Guess it'll have to do. After this brief exchange of introductions, we immediately got down to the business at hand. Okay then, we're starting with that one, Yukon. The jungle gym? Yep, whoever gets to the top first wins. Ready, set, go! Wait, hold on a second. After deciding the event on a whim, I forcibly started the game. Yukon didn't have many suggestions himself, but when I pulled on his arm, he'd follow. Pretty heavy-handed, I know. Anyway, we must have been fairly evenly matched in reflexes and strength. Every game was a competitive match. I was always the winner, of course, but only by a narrow margin. That made the game much more fun, so I just kept going and going. Before I knew it, the sun had begun to sink below the horizon. Oh, I think I need to go home pretty soon. What? Is this late already? Yeah, we ended up playing a whole lot. Are you going to be late? Sorry for keeping you. That's okay. It'll be fine as long as I head straight home. That's good then. Yeah. Okay, bye-bye, Yukon. Bye. Thanks for playing with me today. Kind of weird for the person who got dragged around all day to say thanks to the person who was doing the dragging. It was all so odd that I thought about Yukon the whole way back home. I ended up so lost in thought that I barely touched the meal our housekeeper had made for me. Once he actually started playing, I think he enjoyed it just as much as I did. But when I was trying to think up new games, or when we stopped for a break, Yukon went right back to the expression I saw on his face at the start. Why was Yukon in that playground in the first place? Obviously wasn't to play. Maybe something bad happened at his home too. Oh, Sachi, you don't even know half of it. Partly out of simple curiosity, I decided that I wanted to see Yukon again. The very next day, I made my way back to the playground. And sure enough, he was sitting on the exact same swing with the exact same downcast look on his face. Hello there, Yukon. Hi. You answered me right away this time. Well, yeah, and you said hello to me again, Sachan. Come on, we played together all day yesterday. We're friends now, right? Friends? Too early for that, maybe? No, thanks for calling me a friend. Did I say something weird? Not really, I was just thinking that you kinda say thanks a lot, Yukon. That's something else my sister told me. People who can offer thanks to others have a happier road through life than people who can't, so... You really love your sister, don't you, Yukon? Huh? I mean, you brought up her advice yesterday too. I guess I did, now that you mention it. So, am I right? Yeah. Oh, he even smiled! Oh, that was so adorable! Ah! Sometimes I don't really understand what my big sister's thinking, and sometimes she's even kind of scary. But she's normally really nice to me. I think I love her more than anyone else in my family. No kidding. But anyway, I agree with your big sister on this one, Yukon. Really? My mom says the same thing all the time. When somebody's nice to you, make sure you say thanks. So I guess you love your mom, Sachin? Huh? Since you brought up her advice. Yeah, I love my mom and dad very much. No kidding. Yep. As the conversation moved along, we slowly learned more about each other. That was surprisingly fun in its own way. Hey Yukon, we ran into each other again and all, so why don't we play some more? I don't mind, but is it really any fun playing with someone like me? Of course it is, you're pretty good at climbing and running yourself, so all the games we played were really close. I had a ton of fun yesterday. Thanks, it's nice of you to say that. Yeah, there you go again. Ah, you're right. But that was fine by me. For some reason, every time Yukon said thanks in that slightly bashful voice, I felt genuinely happy. By the way, how old are you, Yukon? I'm 10. Whoa, I'm younger than you, huh? Huh? Seriously? I was so sure it was the other way around. Oh, really? Why did you think I was older, Yukon? I mean, you're stronger than me and I'm a boy. Ah, you're so mean, Yukon. That made me sound like some kind of She-Hulk. Sorry. You don't have to apologize. I'm not that angry. Really? That's good. I'd only been trying to tease the slightly timid Yukon a bit, but when he smiled with a sincere relief to learn that I wasn't upset with him, I was surprised to feel my heart flutter briefly in my chest. By the way, Yukon, why did you start coming to this park? Should I not have asked that question? No, it's okay. I just came here because I didn't want to be at home. I kinda thought so. Did something bad happen? Not really anything bad, but I didn't want to be in the way. In the way? Yeah. You might not believe it, but my sister's what they call a genius. If she just studies a little, she can win first prize at anything. That's how smart she is. Wow, your sister's kind of amazing, Yukon. Yeah, but lately she hasn't been winning that many awards. At home she's been paying more attention to me than her paintings and stuff. Dad got really angry when he noticed that. He told me, "You're useless trash, but Kazuki's actually worth something, don't drag her down with you." So I try to stay out of the house as much as I can, to keep out of my sister's way. Sorry, not really an interesting story, is it? You're not trash! Huh? That's terrible! And so is your dad for saying it. You're strong and fast, and it's really fun playing with you. Just because your sister's smart doesn't make you worthless. That's just a mean, stupid thing to say. Sachan, you're fine just the way you are, Yukon. So, don't ever think you're an unwanted kid, okay? I hadn't intended to cry, but I really was angry at Yukon's stupid dad. And the way he didn't belong in his home reminded me so much of my own problems. They sort of got jumbled together in my mind. I couldn't help shouting that it wasn't true, that I wasn't unwanted. Sorry, don't cry, Sachin. No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to start sobbing all of a sudden. It's okay. Thanks for getting mad for me. That's not it, I'm mad because something bad happened at home, right? But that doesn't matter. You still got angry because of what my dad said. Of course I did. I don't think you're worthless, Yukon. I really don't. Yeah. So in return I'll play anything you want today. For as long as you want. Are you sure? Uh-huh. Even a Playground Iron Man race? Playground Iron Man? Yep. The first time I tried this, Dad hurt his back and I had to bow out halfway through. First you make the castles in the sand pit. Then 10 chin-ups and stuff, and 2 round trips on the monkey bars too. Last up, endless swinging until you flip over the bar. It's the ultimate playground marathon. That sounds a little... Then how about playing until you have to go home, like yesterday? Yeah, I'd be glad to. Hey, alright, I'll settle for that. I firmly wiped the tears from my eyes, then seized Yukon's hand and set off running for the seesaw. From that moment, the day sped past in a blur. Covered in sand, the two of us explored every inch of the park, playing and playing until well past the time we had to leave. And when I finally made my way home on that second night, I discovered a clear and pleasant change inside myself. For months, the droning sound of machines from the workshop had bothered me so much that falling asleep was always a struggle. But that day I was snoring peacefully away the moment my head hit the pillow. Exhaustion from running around all day definitely had something to do with it, but more than anything else, I think it was because I suddenly felt so happy. In the park where I might never again play with my family, I'd stumbled across a nice boy my age. He was a sweet kid who said thank you at the drop of a hat, so things would definitely go well. We'd be best friends in no time. For some reason I felt absolutely certain of that. As it turned out, my hunch was on the money. After those first few meetings, Yukon and I started playing together in the park pretty much every day. At first we headed home quietly when the sun began to set, but after a while we naturally started to say, "See you tomorrow." And when one of us couldn't make it for whatever reason, we'd let the other know in advance. And we shall continue with their lovely story in the next episode. God damn it, these pictures are so adorable to me. I'm just like, love it! And the problem is that I know it's going to get sad. This is really a mixed emotion. Anyway, that's it for this episode. So until next time, take care!